Eduardo, and we're the presenters for the UIC team. And give you a little background on our team. We have a very large team here, 14 players. 10 of the students are graduate students in the urban planning department, which they're at a conference in Boston this weekend. And we have 2 graduate students that are part of the Masters of Real Estate program, 1 undergrad student in the architectural design discipline, and an additional undergrad student in the economics discipline. And what I'd like to do is start by reading you what our vision is for the development. An attractive, sustainable, accessible, and economically vibrant mixed-use development that will consist of commercial, recreational, institutional, and residential uses, which will include a variety of housing types to serve a wide range of incomes. Green Cabrini is what we're proposing to develop. Our goal today is to show you how Green Cabrini balances the gap in areas where Cabrini Green failed. In order for our physical capital to be productive, we must ensure our financial capital is adequate and efficient. In order to achieve our capital goals, we must address the needs of the human capital required to facilitate our physical and financial capital. Simply put, real estate is about people. I want to take a brief moment to just orientate you to the Green Cabrini development site. Here to the south you have Division. Here to the west you have Halsted. There on the top you have Clybourne. And to the right, which would be to your east, you have Larrabee. This is the Green Cabrini development site. In order to bring our vision to life, we began with this sketch right here. The sketch led us to formulating a plan to achieve excellence in energy and environmental design for the Green Cabrini neighborhood. Eduardo Laponte is going to further explain how we further detail how the physical aspects of our developments are achieved.
Good afternoon. When we first met, me and Isaac, we sat down and he showed me this sketch. I knew right then that we had a lot of work to do. So what we did first was to come up with a general framework that would allow us to organize the project logically. That framework was leadership and environmental neighborhood design, LEED and D Platinum. These are some of the components that we focused on to achieve such status. The site counts with 25 acres total, and we take 3 acres for a park. And we have roughly 48 housing units per acre. The organization scheme uses the park as a central heart of the project of the urban planning decisions. All of the buildings are organized around it. As you can see here, green is prevalent throughout the development. Green Cabrini uses public buildings to facilitate interactions. The community center, parking lot, and public school are placed adjacent to the park in the street for easy access and to create a community environment. The stormwater management facility and a community garden will be placed in this area to serve as an example of sustainability in Green Cabrini. We believe that these facilities will create a great example and excellent impact not only in Green Cabrini development but in adjacent neighborhoods as well. The commercial buildings are designed conscious of green infrastructure and LEED Platinum standards. The hotel, shown here in purple, is meant to maximize sun exposure to the site. Dealing with the retail, we use a core system, which is a convertible, open, retail environmental. And we achieve heat island reduction through green areas and solar panels. There are approximately 250,000 square foot of space intended for big box anchor stores, and also we have the flexibility to partition the site of the retail to include short and long-term, lifelong retailers. Near the hotel, there will be restaurants and shopping areas to attract people to Green Cabrini. In addition, a workout facility that promotes the overall concept of healthy lifestyle. Dealing with the residential, it was important to create a strict grid that connects Green Cabrini to its surrounding context. The multifamily, shown here in yellow, uses the courtyard system to provide the green areas for the residents. Also, single-family units are attached to the back of the building to again give a cohesive and unite the community around the park. These buildings, as well as the townhomes, comply with LEED and DEET regulations. This diagram right here shows the access to Green Cabrini and the strict grid created to maximize land use by integrating smart location and the linkage to the communities. So now that I have explained the physical capital, we're going to continue balancing the gap. And I'm going to turn it back over to Isaac, and he's going to explain more about the financial capital and the human capital.
In dealing with the human capital, we had a very interesting challenge of dealing with the public housing sector here. And keeping that in mind, CHA already have an excellent program for screening applicants to come into public housing. What we've decided to do, as opposed to proposing a new plan, is to more or less create a partnership with CHA to narrow the focus of the plan and to have a more narrow focus on the entrance, which would be the screening process, and also creating a focus on the exit. And what I mean by exit is showing people how to exit the public housing program by showing them how to achieve jobs at the living wage, helping them pursue a college degree, and showing them how to get sustainable life skills. And a couple of the community donations that we're going to be doing during our development is we're going to be building a brand new school, community center, and a parking garage. The school is going to be donated to CPS, community center to the Park District, and a parking garage to the City of Chicago. As we move into balancing the gap for Green Cabrini, we're going to move into the financial aspect of the gap. And when looking at the financing, we have 25% debt and 75% equity. The debt is going to come from institutional lenders, which we will use the Green Cabrini land as collateral for that particular loan. And then we're going to raise 75% equity through a self-directed certificate of deposit program. Here's just a brief financial snapshot. And one of the things that I'd like to bring your attention to is our legal structure for our project is going to be a real estate investment trust. And the reason being, real estate investment trust, as long as we distribute 90% of the income that is earned, there is no income tax liability. And then keeping that in mind, you'll notice here that we have an internal rate of return of approximately 3.4% and a positive net present value. In evaluating the equity here, you'll notice between the REIT equity percentages and the property type equities, there's a gap there. So you're looking at the property type equity is roughly about 37%. That gap is coming from using our equity portion to build the school, the community center, and the parking garage. As I mentioned before, our internal rate of return for the REIT is roughly about 3%, 3.4%. As you follow the 10-year Treasury bill here, this is what we use as a benchmark to evaluate our REIT. If you follow the benchmark here for the 10-year Treasury bill, you're looking at roughly between 3 to 4%. And however, REITs have always performed much higher than what the Treasury bill has. And REITs are ranging in that range right now, somewhere between 3 to 4%, as the Treasury bill is going up and down less than the rate of the REIT. Now you're looking here, one of the key points here is the average dividend yield, which is roughly about 5.4%, and the average return on equity is roughly about 7% here. And we base this on our before tax cash flow to come up with our dividend amount to be distributed annually. And what I'd like to talk to you about now is the REIT CD players, and give you an idea how this is set up. The owner of the development will be the REIT. The REIT is going to organize two operating entities. One will be the CD deposit broker, and what the CD deposit broker does, that entity is going to bridge the gap between the investor and the bank, and they're going to act solely as a broker. And then the developer is going to be a joint venture with CHA and the other development partners, which would be our retail partners, as well as our hotel operator, multifamily operator, and our residential operator for the property. And this is going to be a joint venture with all partners coming in with a percentage of equity to be part owner of the REIT. This is the CD mechanics, and I want to simplify this for you, real simple. Our CD program is nothing revolutionary. It is as simple as an investor going to the bank and taking out a CD and using that CD as collateral. Where we do add a strategic advantage is our REIT is going to guarantee the repayment of that CD in the form of REIT shares. So it's a very simple process here. The developer borrows money against the CD. The REIT issues a credit default swap. That is basically the guarantee, and that's from the third party, which is the REIT. The developer repays 50% of the amount that is borrowed, and that'd be plus an additional 12 months of interest. That loan then is placed in moratorium, and that's what we'd call a credit event. The credit default swap at that moment, at any credit event, will kick in to pay the remainder of that loan for the developer. So the developer owes no more money. However, the REIT, what they're going to pay the CD owner, and all parties are going to agree to at one time, is the balance is going to be paid in REIT shares. So the CD owner is basically, their principal is never put at risk, and that is the purpose of creating this program, is to have a risk, not a risk-free, but limit the exposure of your principal investment. And the rationale behind this is basically there are about $2 trillion invested in time deposits, and that is what a certificate of deposit is, which according to the FDIC, that's approximately about 8 million potential investors. Our goal is to reach less than 1/10 of 1% of those investors to raise funds for this development.